Welcome back to another episode here on Cap Tech. Today we're going to look at Illinois, a state of mayhem and ill repute. I've been going a little viral lately, so I've been wanting to get something that would satisfy my Oakdale people as well as my Ottawa and Chicago people. So I thought this might be an appropriate tangent. I'm not really sure if this happens to anybody but me about Illinois, but I look at an article like this, and the first thing I thought when I read this horrible, that somebody froze to death, was just tell me it wasn't in Illinois. But then you read, and of course it was, and things like that seem to happen to me quite a bit about this state. And you really can't help but be suspicious about a state that sends you a letter that looks like junk mail that says you're in a nuclear evacuation zone, and every bar, restaurant, and almost every person you love is also within this zone. Like, thanks for sending it to me like you would a publisher's clearinghouse, like it was nothing. Now, a lot of people don't want to make a video about the state. My own Kevin Eubanks, Clarence, the director of my music, kind of refused to participate in an anti-state video about Illinois. Just kind of said nope. So I'm kind of going solo on this one, but Clarence is still going to lay down some music as I cover the Illinois report card. Let's start with a few warm-ups about Illinois, if you don't mind, so we don't jump right into the hard stuff. Here we have some of the Illinois state stuff. Did you know that the state exercises bicycling? Or the state mineral is fluorite? Well, we pass laws to establish this stuff. So do other people. The state veggie is the sweet corn. Anyway, you're saying, Josh, if you don't like it here, why the heck are you here? But like my good friend Vernon Miller says in his song Anywhere South of Here, if I didn't have family here, there ain't no way that I'd be here. Heck, if I didn't have family here, I'd probably be in St. Louis, hanging out with the La Barbas. But anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. First, let's look at our taxes. First, you should know, Illinois exempts nearly all retirement income from taxation, including Social Security, pension. However, the state has some of the highest property and sales tax in the nation. So it's not a very progressive tax. It doesn't progressive meaning that you tax more as you make more. I'll just look at a brief example. Mary and Julie both have the same grocery bill, the same sales tax bill, but make different salaries here. That means there's a vast difference in what percentage of their earnings go to pay, the same sales tax. And Illinois, is set up to favor the wealthier of the two. I got a little experience with this issue personally when I moved down to Texas and realized that they don't even charge an income tax down there, a state income tax, which isn't necessarily a fair example. They have money coming out of the ground in oil, but I was there long enough to make a Austin, Texas Culture 101 video. But it's worth noting that 7 states do not have income tax, but that Illinois, the first site I visited here, showed it ranked 51st, they include the District of Columbia, as far as effective tax rate on, the median U.S. income. So it's really the worst place to live tax-wise if you're the average Joe. So good to know. Let's next talk about tax's ugly cousin, toll roads. I once, many years ago, got in some trouble because I was trying to pay, not criminal trouble, but had to pay some fines for trying to pay Illinois tolls and Necco wafers. Came out to a couple $1,000. But when I moved to Texas and I happened to miss a toll, they sent me a letter, and they wanted to charge me like the dollar or the 50 cents that the toll was, and I had to pay my own stamp, I believe. Not even sure of that. They might have sent me a stamped return envelope. Anyway, there was no fines or anything. They just said, hey, you missed one, pay us. And it got me thinking, wow, maybe Illinois is really sticking it to people. Next, I thought we'd look at our driving. Illinois was actually ranked second best driving state behind Oregon, so I'm assuming they're including Southern Illinois there, because as you all know, Chicago is no walk in the park and is considered, one of the worst commuting cities, although Austin was no picnic either to live in. I also noticed that Orland Park, just a suburb, not even a major city, ranked 21st in the worst ones on one of them as well. So, look at our airport. O'Hare's no picnic either, but I'm not even going to go into that. I got a different video on that. Next, let me complain about the weather. We've been coming out of this snow freeze. As I'm recording this video, it's going to be 50 tomorrow, so I don't know why the guy's, really upping my ambition here. But look at this. He goes out in a self-contained unit across the street to plow the snow. That's how cold it's been. It's been ridiculous. Anyway, you can't control the weather, so let's take a break for a message from our sponsor. Our sponsor today is Bill Houlihan, who has the Hooley Show on our local radio station, WRWO. Go to their website for more information. In addition, Hooley is also a life coach and real estate appraiser. I'd be curious to know if he could tie all those together. I respect Hooley a lot, an old friend of mine. He, like Isaac Arthur, one of my favorite YouTube channels, overcome slight speech impediments to have public speaking roles in their lives and careers, and I think it's awesome. And now, back to our scheduled program. Let's look at the Illinois population loss as it worsens for the 5th straight year. You're saying, Josh, is that common? Does that happen with a lot of states? How bad does this exodus have to get before we notice it? Well, I noticed that there weren't a whole lot of states that were declining, and there were even few that were declining a couple years in a row. Illinois was the only state in the top 10 that saw a drop in estimated population in 2016, according to census estimates. That resulted in Pennsylvania moving past Illinois in rank. So, picture like Quakers, Amish, the Philly Fanatic. They're now outranking us, as far as population. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to dive into some other things that are less than perfect with Illinois as well, after we get done kind of finishing up the decline here. How can you not cover corruption in an Illinois video? We have 6 Illinois governors that have been charged with crimes during or after their governorships. 4 were convicted. Blagojevich was the first to be impeached and removed from office, although there is some talk that he will be, the sentence will be commuted by President Trump. So we are often ranked in studies as the most crooked city in America. And not to go on too much of a personal side tangent here, but I went down to this brewery in DuQuoin and happened to be sitting across from then sitting Governor Bruce Rauner. And he does tip and everything, but he doesn't tip any more than I do, even though he's a billionaire. So, I don't know. That's not really wrong with the state, but moving on. Now, can you judge a state by its neighbors? Probably not, but let's at least take a look. Missouri's all right. Indiana has too many rules. Wisconsin's too cold. And Iowa's just a bunch of idiots out walking around. Shoot, Indiana's so frickin' bad that I made a video just about it after going there on vacation for 3 days. It lasted 10 minutes long, but Illinois' got its own crappy cities, although I don't feel like Centerville should be on this. Let's spare the Brooklyn, Sauget area. It's pretty fun, but anyway, let's go look at stupid Illinois rules. We passed some more of these, We're coming up with new ones all the time and slow to take off the dumb ones. We're the one of few states that ban fireworks. You can get a DUI on a horse. You can get a DUI even if you fall asleep in your car because you want to sleep it off. I mean, it's -50. That law's going to kill somebody someday. But moving on, let's look at some laws that individual communities in Illinois happen to have passed that are silly. In Kenilworth, a rooster must step back 300 feet from any residence before it crows. In Kirkland, bees are not allowed to fly over a village or through the street. In Moline, ice skating during June and August is legally prohibited. In Horner, it's against the law to use a slingshot unless you're a police officer. In Chicago, it's forbidden to fish while sitting on a giraffe. Kites can't be flown there either. In Des Plaines, wheelbarrows with for sale signs can't be tied to a tree. Or I guess you can tie them, just not chain them. In Evanston, it's unlawful to change clothes in a car with the curtains drawn, except in case of fire. Town fathers of Joliet wanted to fine people, or were able to make a small fine for people that mispronounced it, perhaps as Joliet. We have freedom of speech, right? In Galesburg, it's illegal to burn bird feathers. I'm sure it smells horrible. But I mean, there's a $1,000 fine for beating rats with baseball bats in Galesburg. In Galesburg, no bicyclist can fancy ride. Not on the street. In Galesburg, no person can have a smelly dog. It's also illegal to hang obstructions from the mirror. Those under 21 can drink legally in Illinois, but they have to be enrolled in a culinary program to do so. Shoot, it's against the law in Bloomington to feed the birds if you live in a mile of the downtown square. In Lincoln, you can be ticketed if you park more than 12 inches from a curb. And it's fine for boys in Mount Pulaski to throw snowballs, but not girls? My goodness, it's illegal to make soap in Normal unless you have a license. In Decatur, it's against the law to drive a car without a steering wheel? Wait, that one might actually make sense. Anyway, don't order a bottle of water in Bloomington and try to leave the bar with it, because our municipalities are obviously in on the craziness. We're not doing too bad with legalization, kind of middle of the road. And I think it's probably going to follow the line that gambling did here. I mean, at the end of the day, we need the money. And, you know, someday, 10 years from now, we'll look at a map and see as many distribution places as we do gambling parlors, if you ask me. But first, it's all got to get through our ridiculously long Senate backlog. If you want something to do while you wait for that to happen, you can watch my video on the most ridiculous high school mascots in Illinois. So in closing, thanks for watching this video. Please like, comment, share. Your comments don't even have to be friendly. I don't care. I'll just take the traffic. If you want to go to my Patreon and give me money, that's fan-frickin-tastic. I don't really expect it. So you guys aren't real worried about it here. But I did want to beg you to subscribe. I'm going to have my baby do it, and then my dog, because I read that was the most effective way to market it. And then I'm just going to say the end. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned.